important to sign the Energy Alliance Declaration, and also what could elected officials do more of so that we can help take advantage of America's energy independence?
Yeah, thanks. Well, again, it gets back to the things we've been talking about, why energy independence for our country is so important. Again, just it means creating those jobs for our American families. It means lower energy prices for our American families, which means then they have more money in their pocket to be able to do the things they want with. We talked about how some families struggle to pay their energy bills. There was a report out that said 31% of households at some point have trouble paying their energy bills. So the more we can reduce those, the more we can help out those families, especially low-income families. And then, of course, as Ted was just talking about, the implications for our foreign policy and having that energy independence, which gives us so much more flexibility and latitude to deal with rogue nations like Iran when they are doing the wrong thing. So the fact that that helps us, not being dependent on foreign oil, allows us to be able to pursue a foreign policy that really protects our national security much better. Those three things are all reasons why it's important for us to pursue energy independence, why I was pleased to sign the declaration, and why I'm, again, pleased with the Energy Alliance here, who are advocating for really common sense things. And again, what can elected officials do? Well, I think it just gets back to making sure you're creating an environment where you're allowing that private sector innovation. You're not trying to throw those roadblocks up. Ted really spoke eloquently about the wealth that's created and the difference between Pennsylvania and New York in trying to take advantage of the Marcellus Shale as an example. If you create the opportunity, American companies will innovate. They will find ways to overcome problems and create more prosperity for everybody in this country. And that's why the current policies are so important for our energy independence and allowing the private sector to do this. This is the way our country works and why we have been the most successful country on the face of the earth. And the alternative is to go down the path of socialism, where you're pursuing state-driven type of policies, where you've got government deciding winners and losers and who that's going to be. And we've just seen this show, right? We just had a preview of it with the Obama administration and their agenda for driving so-called their priorities with regard to energy, and it ended up in disasters like Solanindra, which cost the taxpayers of this country like $535 million. Turns out when you're the government picking winners and losers and you're funding the companies, the government doesn't care as much about how those dollars are wasted. And so we want private sector folks making those decisions because they do care about their dollars, because they're investing the dollars of other American families, their friends, their family themselves. They're going to be good stewards of it, make sure that they're allocating those resources in a way that's going to create the most prosperity for our country, versus the government picking winners and losers and not caring about how much waste goes on in the meantime. So it really is incumbent upon all of our elected officials to really figure out how can we create an environment where companies want to invest. And I used the example of Monolith Materials earlier. They've got a headquarters in California, but they chose Nebraska to be able to set up their facility because they were able to work with our utilities to be able to get their factory going. And that's what we want. We want companies to create jobs, to find friendly environments. All of us as elected officials can help create those so that you can attract those companies to your state so that they can create jobs for your people. And if California or other states don't want to do that, then they're going to see what people are going to vote with their feet and leave. So it really is something that we all have the opportunity to create the environment for energy policy that allows us to grow jobs. And that would be my message to all elected officials out there, no matter what level you are. You can make sure that you're cutting the red tape, you're creating that environment where companies want to expand.